Shalom, my friends. Tonight, before you go to sleep, I want you to perform a ritual that will begin to cleanse the weight of debt from your life. Not tomorrow, not next week, tonight. And I want to be clear with you from the very beginning. This is not superstition. This is not magic. This is ancient Jewish wisdom, a spiritual technology that has been used for thousands of years to release people from the bondage of financial burden and reconnect them with the flow of divine abundance. This ritual uses two of the most powerful cleansing agents known to the Torah: salt and water. Salt is the symbol of covenant and preservation. Water is the symbol of purification and renewal. When you combine them with genuine intention and real understanding, you create a force for transformation that works on the deepest level of who you are. Not just your bank account, your consciousness, your identity, your relationship with money and with God. By the end of this video, you will have the exact ritual to perform tonight, and you will understand the spiritual mechanism that makes it work. But before we go any further, I want you to do something right now. Go to the comments and write the words, "I cleanse my debt tonight." Write it now. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Because that declaration, that simple act of putting your intention into words, is the first step in the transformation I am about to walk you through. And if you are new here, welcome. This channel exists to bring the timeless wisdom of Jewish tradition directly into your financial life in a way that is honest, practical, and genuinely powerful. If that is what you have been looking for, please subscribe right now. We are building a community of people who understand that real financial transformation begins from the inside out. Subscribing takes 2 seconds, and it means you will never miss a teaching. Now let us get into this. Let me tell you something personal, something I do not share lightly. Years ago, I was in serious debt, over $300,000 of it. Borrowed for business ventures that had not worked out, borrowed for personal expenses, borrowed for things I convinced myself I needed. And the debt had grown quietly, the way debt always does, until one day I looked up and realized I was completely buried under it. I carried that weight every single day. It affected my sleep. I would lie awake at night staring at the ceiling, running numbers in my head that never seemed to add up. It affected my marriage. My wife was worried, and I could see the concern on her face every morning. It affected my children. Children always sense stress, even when you think you are hiding it. It affected my health. I was getting sick more frequently. I felt like I was drowning in an ocean of obligation with no shore in sight. I tried everything the conventional world recommends. I worked harder. I took on extra projects and sacrificed time with my family. I cut every expense I could find. I negotiated with creditors. I looked into consolidation. I even explored bankruptcy. And while some of these things helped on the margins, the weight never truly lifted. The anxiety was still there every morning. The shame was still there every night. The sense of being trapped never left me. And then my grandmother came to visit. She was an old rabbi's wife, a woman of extraordinary faith and extraordinary wisdom. She had survived the Holocaust. She had lost everything and rebuilt her life from absolute zero. She had faced suffering that most of us will never come close to understanding, and she had emerged with her faith not just intact, but deeper and stronger than before. When she looked at me, she knew immediately that something was wrong. She said, "David, what is burdening your soul?" I told her everything. The debt, the numbers, the shame, the sleepless nights, the feeling of being trapped. And she sat quietly for a moment, and then she said something that I have carried with me every day since. She said, "David, debt is not just a financial problem. Debt is a spiritual problem. You are carrying the weight of obligation, the weight of shame, and the weight of disconnection from God's abundance. Before you can solve the external problem, you must address the internal one. You must cleanse your spirit. You must release the consciousness of debt and activate the consciousness of freedom. I want you to sit with those words for a moment. Debt consciousness. Because this is the real enemy. Not the numbers, not the interest rates, not the creditors. The consciousness. The belief that you are bound. The belief that you are trapped. The belief that you are defined by what you owe. This consciousness creates a spiritual heaviness that you carry into every decision, every opportunity, every conversation about money. And it operates through two specific mechanisms that keep you stuck: shame and disconnection. You feel ashamed of your debt, so you hide it. You avoid opening the letters. You do not answer the calls. You do not talk about it openly because the shame is too great. And in hiding it, you give it more power over you. And you feel disconnected from God's abundance. You feel like prosperity is for other people, like the flow of blessing has somehow bypassed you. And that disconnection becomes a self-fulfilling reality, because when you genuinely believe you are cut off from abundance, you stop seeing the opportunities that are all around you. You stop taking the actions that would move you forward. You shrink, you contract, and the debt grows. This is what my grandmother understood, that the external problem cannot be solved until the internal condition is addressed. And the Torah, she told me that night, contains a specific ritual for doing exactly that. In the Torah, salt and water are not just cooking ingredients, they are sacred tools. In the book of Leviticus, salt is used in offerings to God. It is the salt of covenant, the binding agent between the divine and the human. In the book of Numbers, water is used in purification rituals. It is the vehicle of spiritual cleansing. The Kabbalists teach that salt represents the binding of covenant, and water represents the flow of divine blessing. And when you combine them with intention, you create something powerful, a tool for shifting consciousness from bondage to freedom. My grandmother taught me the ritual that very night. She said, "David, tonight you will perform the salt and water cleansing, and as you do it, you will release the debt consciousness from your spirit. You will cleanse yourself of the shame and the disconnection. You will reconnect with God's abundance. And from that shift in consciousness, your actions will change. And when your actions change, your results will follow." I was skeptical. I want to be honest with you about that. I was a man drowning in $300,000 of debt, and my grandmother was asking me to sit with a bowl of salt water. But I was desperate enough to try anything. And something in the way she said it, the certainty in her eyes, the peace in her voice, made me trust her. That night, I performed the ritual exactly as she taught me. I took a bowl of water. I added salt. I held the bowl in my hands and I spoke specific words with genuine intention. And something shifted. I cannot fully explain it in purely rational terms, but I felt a lightness I had not felt in years. I felt a sense of release, like a hand that had been gripping my chest finally letting go. I felt like I could breathe again. I felt like I was reconnecting with something greater than myself and greater than my debt. Within a week, I received an unexpected business opportunity that generated significant income. Within a month, I had paid off $50,000. Within 6 months, I was completely debt-free. Was it the salt water that did it? No. It was the shift in consciousness that the ritual created. That shift changed how I saw myself. It changed how I approached every phone call, every opportunity, every decision. And those changed actions produced changed results. Now let me give you the exact ritual. I call it the salt and water debt cleansing ritual, and you can perform it tonight. Here is what you will need: a bowl of water, spring water or filtered water if you have it, sea salt or kosher salt, a quiet space where you can be alone for 15 to 20 minutes, and a candle if you have one, though it is not required. The ritual has 9 steps, and I want you to take your time with each one. Do not rush through this. The power is not in the speed. The power is in the intention you bring to every word and every action. Step 1 is preparation. Find a quiet space in your home where you will not be disturbed. Your bedroom, your bathroom, anywhere that feels private and sacred. If you have a candle, light it. The flame represents the light of consciousness, the light of awareness breaking through the darkness. Fill your bowl with water and add 3 pinches of salt. As you add each pinch of salt, say aloud, "I add this salt as a symbol of covenant. I bind myself to the principle of release and renewal. I bind myself to freedom and abundance." Step 2 is the declaration. Hold the bowl of salt water in both hands. Close your eyes and take 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel yourself grounding. Feel the weight of the bowl in your hands. Feel the presence of God surrounding you. And then say out loud with conviction, "I am cleansing myself of debt consciousness. I am releasing the shame. I am releasing the fear. I am releasing the sense of being trapped and the sense of obligation that has defined me. I am releasing all resistance to abundance. I am reconnecting with God's provision. I am free. I am worthy. I am blessed. I am a child of the Most High, and I deserve prosperity." Step 3 is the forehead anointing. Dip your right hand into the salt water. Anoint your forehead with it. As you do this, say, "I cleanse my mind of debt consciousness. I release every thought of limitation and lack. I release every thought of unworthiness and impossibility. I activate thoughts of abundance, clarity, and divine possibility. My mind is clear. My mind is free." Step 4 is the heart anointing. Dip your right hand into the salt water again. Place it over your heart. Say, "I cleanse my heart of shame and fear. I release every emotion of unworthiness and despair. I release every feeling of being trapped in a story that is not my true story. I activate emotions of worthiness, hope, and divine blessing. My heart is open. My heart is free." Step 5 is the hand anointing. Dip your right hand into the water and anoint both of your hands. Say, "I cleanse my hands of the weight of debt. I release every sense of obligation that has paralyzed me. I activate my hands to create, to build, to receive abundance freely and fully. My hands are free. My hands are blessed and equipped to build the life I am meant to live." Step 6 is the feet anointing. Dip your right hand into the water and anoint your feet. Say, "I cleanse my path of every obstacle and barrier that debt has placed before me. I release all resistance on my road forward. I activate my path to lead me toward prosperity, toward freedom, toward the life that God has prepared for me. My path is clear. My path is free." Step 7 is the full body release. Hold the bowl out in front of you and look at the water. Visualize it as a living, cleansing force. Visualize it washing away every layer of debt consciousness, every trace of shame, every thread of fear, every belief that you are trapped. See yourself becoming lighter with each breath. See the weight lifting. See the space that is opening up inside you. Then say, "I am cleansed. I am purified. I am renewed. I am free." Step 8 is the final declaration. Say these words slowly and mean every one of them. I have cleansed myself of debt consciousness. I have released shame and fear. I have released the identity of someone who is trapped. I have reconnected with the abundance that God has always intended for me. I am free. I am worthy. I am blessed. I deserve prosperity. I deserve freedom. And so it is. And so it shall be. Step 9 is the disposal. Take the bowl to your sink or to the earth outside and pour the water away. As you do, say, I release this debt consciousness into the flow of transformation. I release it to be dissolved and renewed. I release it to be returned to the earth and cleansed. I am free. The debt is released. The consciousness is shifted. And so it is. That is the complete ritual. 9 steps, 15 to 20 minutes. And I want to say again what I said at the beginning. The power is not in the salt and water themselves. The power is in what the ritual does to your consciousness. It creates a formal, intentional, embodied declaration that you are no longer identified with your debt, that you are no longer defined by what you owe, that the shame no longer has a home inside you. And when that shift happens at a genuine level, everything else begins to change. Let me tell you about 3 people who performed this ritual and what happened for them. The first is Rachel. Rachel had been in debt for over 10 years. Credit card debt, student loans, a car loan, medical bills. She was making minimum payments month after month, and the balance never seemed to move. She was exhausted, and she was beginning to lose hope. When I taught her this ritual, she was openly skeptical. Rabbi, she told me, I believe in practical solutions, not rituals. And I told her, Rachel, this is a practical solution, because it addresses the practical problem you have not yet addressed, the one inside you. She decided to try it. That night she performed the ritual. The next morning she called her creditors and negotiated lower interest rates, something she had been too afraid to do for years. Within a week, she had created a comprehensive debt payoff strategy for the first time. Within a year, she had paid off $30,000. Within 2 years, she was completely debt-free. The ritual did not pay off her debt. The shift in consciousness did. It gave her the clarity and the courage to take actions she had been avoiding. The second person is David. David had been running from his debt for years, ignoring the collection calls, not opening the letters, living in complete denial because the shame was too overwhelming to face. When I taught him this ritual and he performed it that night, something changed. The next morning he called his creditors. He negotiated payment plans. He opened every letter he had been avoiding. He faced what he had been running from. Within 6 months, he had paid off $20,000. Within a year, $50,000. Within 2 years, he was completely free. The ritual gave him what no spreadsheet could give him, the courage to stop running. The third person is Sarah. Sarah had tried everything. Every budgeting system, every side hustle, every negotiation strategy. Nothing was producing results fast enough, and she was beginning to believe the debt was simply her permanent reality. After performing this ritual, she woke up the next morning with a clear idea for a new business. She launched it. Within a year, she had generated enough income to pay off $40,000. Within 2 years, she had cleared all of her debt and built something sustainable. The ritual did not give her the business idea. It opened her mind to possibilities she had been too contracted by shame and fear to see. Now let me address the question I know some of you are asking. Rabbi, is this just psychology? Is this just a placebo effect? And my honest answer is, perhaps there is a psychological dimension to it. But let me ask you something. If a ritual shifts your consciousness from shame to empowerment, from paralysis to action, from hiding to facing your situation directly, and that shift leads to results that transform your financial life, does the mechanism matter? What matters is that it works. And the Torah teaches us clearly that words have power, that intention has power, that ritual has power. The Kabbalists teach that the physical world is an expression of the spiritual world. When you shift the spiritual reality through intentional ritual, the physical reality follows. This is not primitive thinking. This is a sophisticated understanding of how human consciousness and divine reality interact. Here is what I want you to do tonight. 3 things, and I want you to commit to all 3 before this video ends. The first thing is to gather your materials before you go to sleep. A bowl, water, salt. That is all you need. Find your quiet space. If you have a candle, place it there. Make the space feel intentional. Make it feel sacred, because what you are about to do is sacred. The second thing is to perform the ritual exactly as I have taught it. All 9 steps. Do not skip any. Do not rush. Take your time with each declaration. Feel each word as you speak it. Let each step do its work. Feel the weight lifting as you move through the ceremony. Feel the shift happening. The third thing is that after you complete the ritual, before you sleep, write down 3 specific actions you will take tomorrow to move toward financial freedom. Call a creditor. Create a budget. Research a debt payoff strategy. Look for an additional income opportunity. Write down 3 concrete actions. Commit to them on paper and take them tomorrow without exception. Because the ritual shifts the consciousness and the actions seal the shift in physical reality. One without the other is incomplete. The ritual without action is spiritual without substance. Action without the ritual is substance without foundation. Together they are complete. And here is one more thing I want to encourage you to do. Perform this ritual once a week for the next 4 weeks. Each week you will find that the shift goes deeper. Each week more layers of debt consciousness will dissolve. Each week you will feel lighter, freer, and more connected to the abundance that God has always intended for you. I want to close with something my grandmother said to me that night. She said, "David, the Torah does not just give us laws, it gives us tools. Tools for living, tools for healing, tools for transformation." Salt and water are tools. Intention is a tool. Ritual is a tool. And the greatest tool of all is consciousness. When you change your consciousness, you change your life. That is the teaching. That is the wisdom. That has been true for 3,000 years, and it is still true tonight. So go and gather your materials. Create your space. Perform the ritual. Speak the words with everything in you. And then wake up tomorrow and take your 3 actions. Because you are not just someone who carries debt. You are a child of the Most High. You were created in the divine image. You were made for abundance, for freedom, for prosperity. And tonight is the night you begin to reclaim that truth. Drop a comment below and tell me that you performed the ritual. Tell me what shifted for you. I read every single comment, and I will personally respond to as many as I can. Your journey matters to me. Your freedom matters to me. And if this teaching reached something inside you today, please share this video with one person in your life who is carrying the weight of debt right now. Someone who is exhausted, someone who is ashamed, someone who has been hiding from their financial reality and does not know where to turn. One share could be the beginning of everything for them. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already, so you never miss a teaching. Next week, I am going to reveal the ancient Jewish prayer for financial breakthrough that has been passed down through generations of rabbis and was never meant for public teaching until now. You will not want to miss that. Until then, may you be blessed with the courage to face what you have been avoiding, the faith to believe that freedom is truly possible for you, and the wisdom to know that the most powerful transformation always begins from the inside. Shalom, my friends. Tonight is your night.